Hello, everyone. It's another session of Explore the World with Nicola Ratte from Travel Only. And I have the Sales Director Canada for Hurtigruten Expedition with me today. And we talk a little bit about expedition cruising. So welcome, Kristin, and welcome to our program, our coffee chat. And I just would like to know, how long have you been in the travel industry or with Hurtigruten?
Thanks, Nicola. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. So myself, I've been in the industry, I guess about 15 years now, and always seem to find my way back to cruising within the industry. I actually started working on board ships as an assistant cruise director back in 2006. And then today, I'm the sales director with Hurtigruten Expeditions, and I've been with them about 2.5 years now, and looking forward to keeping that going. It's such an exciting place to work and amazing product, and to get to those untouched places like behind me here, like Antarctica. It's been an absolutely incredible experience, and looking forward to many, many more years of this.
So what has been your earliest or favorite travel experience? Have you been to Antarctica?
The funny thing is, the last trip that I did just before, everything happened, I was in Antarctica. Had the opportunity, that was officially my 1-year anniversary with Hurtigruten, and had the chance to travel down there with a couple of my colleagues. And it's like a place like unlike any other. I mean, words cannot do this place justice. Somebody had once told me, once you go down to Antarctica, you will have no idea how to explain it or describe it. And they couldn't be more true. And, being in sales, we're all about talking in words and descriptions and everything. And it really is true. It's a place that leaves you breathless. It leaves you completely speechless. It's just such an amazing place. And it's such a place of like peace and calm and quiet, because it's not mass tourism. It's just your ship and your group of people ashore, where you are. And there's just something incredible about all the ice that surrounds you, like you see here. You can actually see these types of things when you're on an expedition in the polar regions. And the wildlife, very curious. Lots of penguin life down there, and the seals, and if we're lucky, some whale encounters as well. That's probably my most recently memorable experience, and thank goodness, because that has carried me through, with motivation through these last, very long months. But it gives me a lot of inspiration to get back out there and travel.
Yeah. And your earliest, or is that also your favorite one?
I would say probably my earliest that maybe shaped where I am today it was a family trip on a princess cruise. And yeah, we'd done a couple days in Disney, when we were younger kids, but I think I was about 12 when my parents took my sister and I on our first ever cruise. That was like the biggest family vacation we had ever done. We went on the Golden Princess in the Caribbean, and just that whole experience, it was a whole other, type of travel for us. And I think obviously something stuck with me, because 10 years later, I was on board, working for them. So I think cruising's always been in my blood from that point forward. And I always seem to find my way back to cruising. And it's how I personally like to travel as well. I love to see the world by ship. It's just a part of me.
Yeah, that's great. And what is Hurtigruten known for? Like expedition, of course, and
yeah, like maybe I can give you a little history about the company, because I think it's a pretty impressive one. So we actually started as a company back in 1893. So as of July, we'll be over 128 years old.
wow.
And we actually started along the coast of Norway doing mail carrier service, because there were a lot of small, coastal communities that lived above the Arctic Circle in Norway that just weren't getting frequent mail. So this shipping route was created by our first captain, Richard With, and our first ship, the DS Westeralen, to create a more frequent service to deliver the mail along the coast. So we have been doing that, for the last 128 years. We also do cargo shipping, ferry passengers, and then, international tourists can come on board that product as well. And once we kind of realized we've got, this really great niche into kind of, coastal exploration and really getting to know the heart of communities and what, makes a country what it is, we started to expand the expedition product and really started honing in on the polar regions. And now we've started filling in all the regions, in between the poles. I mean, we did our first expedition to the Arctic in Svalbard in 1896, just 3 years after we started as a company. So we really are known for our polar expertise. And I think too, when people think expedition, that's what they tend to think of is the ice, that type of experience. So we're really, really well known, of course, for our polar region cruising. And of course, our Norway cruising. I mean, I always say, what better place, to discover Norway than with the local Norwegians.
Yes.
And then I think probably still within polar, yes, Antarctica is massive for us. The demand is there like crazy, but also the Northwest Passage. So just in our own backyard in Arctic Canada, one of our longest voyages, that's 26 days, it actually departs from Nome in Alaska, goes all the way through Arctic Canada and finishes off in Halifax. And that one tends to sell out the first, when we launch a new season. So we continually are having to relaunch the next year way ahead of all the rest of our itineraries because that one sells so quickly. Because it really is sort of that once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, I think too, Hurtigruten is also known for sustainability, and with the 2 new ships, the Roald Amundsen and the Fridtjof Nansen with the hybrid powered engine.
Exactly. For us, sustainability is still at the core of our operations. I mean, it really is what we're all about as a company. And we're trying to do all that we can to kind of push the limits of sustainability, especially within the cruising industry. And definitely, I mean, people took notice when we released those 2 ships. And for us, it was also, let's get rid of single-use plastic. So we were the first cruise line to get rid of those back in 2018 across our entire fleet. And we also like to do some things with our guests as well. So when we are up in places like Svalbard, for example, we'll do beach clean initiatives because unfortunately, with the currents of the ocean, they push all of this plastic and fishing industry waste up to these uninhabited beaches. And unfortunately, we know it's not safe for wildlife and things for that to be there. So we like to kind of leave a place better than we found it and make sure that we're doing our part to clean up those areas that we are so grateful to be visiting. And our guests can even, when they're on board, choose to opt out of having their room service, for a night or 2 or however long they wish, because of course that helps us save, electricity, laundry detergents, that type of thing, water. So then what we do is we make a donation on behalf of our guest, and it goes towards the Hurtigruten Foundation. And that foundation is used to help support global and local initiatives, with the communities that we sail in and for sustainability purposes as well. I'm trying to get that sustainable word, less of a buzzword and more put into action.
That's great information. I don't think a lot of people knew about that. So, so thank you for giving us that information. And so I'm not sure, I think Hurtigruten was still sailing for a little bit even after COVID, but then they stopped. And how do you see travel rebounding?
Yeah, for our Norwegian Coastal Express, we never really
Stop.
stopped during COVID because it is an essential service along the Norwegian coast because it's such a popular transport route and cargo route as well.
Mhm.
But of course, yes, our expedition product did come pretty much to a full stop because, we're running into all kinds of international rules and regulations with different countries that we need to be following. So I mean, it definitely will change, the experience on board to a certain extent, because of course safety has to be the number one concern, and focus for everybody. So things like, yes, we will be requiring masks on board along with our crew as well, in the public spaces and when our crew is doing any food preparation or cleaning any of the staterooms. They'll have all of their proper PPE on. And things like we'll be doing, distancing in the dining room. So no buffet service, for the time being, it'll be all an a la carte plated meal option in our restaurants. Which in my opinion, hey, that's a great thing. I love being served when I'm away. so,
The same
so
here.
I personally love that. So we'll do this because of course we want to be able to have people, reserved at certain tables so we can make sure we're spacing and not using all of the tables in the restaurant so we can turn them over quickly and do cleaning and meals and that sort of thing. And even things like, the lectures that happen on board our ships by our expedition team. This was something we were actually already doing prior to COVID, because not everybody physically wanted to attend the lecture. They maybe just wanted to, sit in their stateroom and, maybe just enjoy a coffee in the comfort of the room. So we do actually live stream the lectures from the lecture hall into our guests' staterooms as well. So if they do prefer, a comfort level of staying in their room to watch the lectures, that's available for them as well. Plus, we'll be offering the same lectures more than once, throughout the cruise to give the opportunity for more social distancing and things in the lecture halls. But I think part of the beauty of places like, going to Antarctica and up in the Arctic and Svalbard or Arctic Canada is in those situations, we don't have to worry about, sort of country laws or docking facilities and ports and things like that. I mean, as guests, we'll get into the Zodiacs, we will be wearing masks, and we'll have less people in the Zodiacs. But once we get ashore, it really is just our group that's ashore. We're not in a town or in a city or anything like that. We don't have to worry about bus tours or anything like that in those parts of the world. So it can really make those types of destinations quite appealing right now, to travelers that, still want to get out and travel, but maybe are looking for a destination a little bit more off the beaten path to help with their own, personal safety and comfort levels.
Yeah,
And then, for destinations like Norway, like Iceland, for example, where we do have an option to work with local tour operators. For now, the requirement will be to stay with the ship's organized activities, so that we can make sure everybody is staying within our little Hurtigruten bubble in order to do some exploration. And, we will continue to adapt and change those things as the situation, the countries that we're visiting, change and update their protocols.
Policy. Yeah, okay, that's good to know. And what niche markets do you really see fitting well with Hurtigruten?
I mean, we are definitely a great fit for, photographers. If you're part of a photography club, whether it's a profession of yours or you do it as a hobbyist, activity, it's such a great opportunity to come on board one of our voyages. We have a lot of photographers that sail with us multiple times because we go to such untouched places, and it really is all about the colorful communities that we visit, the beautiful landscapes, the amazing wildlife. I mean, photographers dream in some of the places that we visit. And of course, anybody who's just generally a nature enthusiast, maybe you're, especially too over the last, 15 months, I know a lot of us have been going out and doing local hikes and things like that in our, national parks and in our provincial parks. And so maybe you're that person, maybe you're a hiking enthusiast now and just really like to kind of get out and enjoy nature and what it has to offer, we're such a great fit with that type of person. But even if, you're a solo traveler, we tend to get a lot of solo travelers on our product. I think too, because it's a small ship experience, so it's very easy to get to know and meet other like-minded travelers. And we also help the solo traveler community with a solo waiver program. Every month we update a list of applicable departure dates where we've waived the solo supplement, so that our solo travelers can come on board our product without having to pay, an extra percentage just because they're traveling on their own.
Okay.
And again, such a great environment for solo travelers just to meet so many other people, because it's such that small, community environment on board.
Yeah, and you make new friends fast, I guess. And
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. Like, I mean, with under 200 people on board or 200, that's just
and that's the thing. And even within, that 200, when we are doing, the expeditions to the polar regions and things, we divide people into even smaller boat groups. So you stay with that boat group, throughout the trip as well. So it helps you gain, even closer kind of relationships with people on board the ship.
Yeah. What do you think is are the 3 top destinations for Hurtigruten?
Our 3 top, now it's funny because up until recently, I would have said Antarctica, Norway, and the Northwest Passage. But actually, it was just last week, we literally launched a pole-to-pole expedition. So we launched 2 of them, a 93-day and a 66-day, where our guests could join one of 2 ships and sail literally from the Arctic all the way down to Antarctica with us, and go to all of the spots in between. And I think all of this, pent up demand of not having traveled for the last very long while, the first pole to pole, the 93-day, I'm not sure if it's officially sold out. I know all of the rooms are currently held, just awaiting deposits, and we've got a wait list of people, waiting to book into this. So you got to figure 93 days, and I think the starting price was about $65,000 per person.
Wow.
And this, I mean, we just had record deposits and sales last week, and it hasn't even been out for a week yet, this pole expedition. So there are definitely people out there, the ultimate adventurers, that are just, it's sort of like our version of a world cruise.
Yeah.
Like some of the other cruise lines offer. This is what we can offer from an expedition perspective. So I think, in terms of top destination, that one now has kind of taken the cake in terms of just how quickly and eager people were willing and wanting to experience something like that.
Yeah.
But still, Antarctica, Norway, Northwest Passage, they're very much at the core of what are kind of favorites for our guests.
Yeah, like Svalbard too, right? Like
it's such an amazing place. And it's funny because you almost expect Antarctica and Svalbard to be the same, because you figure, well, they're both, one's high Arctic, one's, way down in the south, they all have ice, but they're such different experiences, like right down to the wildlife. There's so much varying landscape in Svalbard. It's not just snow and ice. There's a lot of tundra and, beautiful mountains and things there as well. Very, very different. So our guests, I think one thing to be thankful for at Hurtigruten as well is we have a very high repeat guest ratio as well. Once they have sort of experienced one destination with us, they tend to go on and book one of our other destinations as well. So that's why, partly too, why we're always looking for new and exciting destinations that we can expand our product to continue offering some great experiences for our repeat travelers.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, thank you so much. And if you could go anywhere right now, where would you go, Kristin?
For me, it would be Greenland. That is my next trip, my next expedition. It's not booked or anything like that. I'm just saying that is the next place I need to go. I've been lucky with Hurtigruten to have obviously done Antarctica. I've done Iceland and Svalbard, and I've done part of our Central America sailing. So for me, Greenland is kind of a personal place. I really, really want to go. I want to do our Western Greenland itinerary that visits a lot of the local indigenous communities. I think there's just something so special there about celebrating and learning about their culture and traditions. And of course, it's one of the, home to, some of the largest icebergs in the world, even larger than what we see down in Antarctica. So it's my personal goal that I would love to do that as my next trip.
Well, thank you so much, Kristin, for being here with us, and everybody else, thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you on our next trip. So thank you very much, and bye.
Perfect. Thank you, Nicola. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.